Oh my God, I forgot. I forgot about my favorite section of the show.
Bad jokes?
No, that's like third, fourth best.
What's your favorite section, Rob?
Where we get some of our fans to make us potential intro songs, and we listen to them and get live reactions.
Oh shit! You have one from a fan?
We've got one from Veronica.
Ooh.
And
did you just make one yourself and then you don't want to get lampooned like I did? So you're saying it's from Veronica?
I have not even listened to this yet.
Wow.
I saved it for you guys so we could all react
really
to it
exciting.
together. She sent me more than one.
Thank you, Veronica.
The first one is her singing, and then I think the second one is her husband singing. It might be the same song. Is everyone ready for this?
Yes.
Ready?
You can hear it.
3 comedians working on jokes, doing it live but recording for folks. Is this anything? Is this anything? Is this anything? You tell us.
Ooh, I like
I
the
like that.
tagline.
I like that you tell us. That's
Yeah.
great. What a nice little addition there. Okay.
I love it. We should definitely throw that on a couple episodes at least.
Thank you so much, Veronica.
I like the laugh in there too.
Yeah. That's great. Okay, so I believe this might be the same one, but this is Brad singing now. Let's see.
Let's see if he blows her out of the water.
Or maybe he's laughing more like Jimmy Fallon.
Okay, here we go. So thank you again. And if anybody else has some songs they want to go ahead and send us, we don't have one yet. So
We have one. We have
nothing. We
got two actually. I've pitched two. By this episode, I've done two.
It's either this or silence, everybody.
Okay.
So please, in our moment of desperation, send us anything. Okay, here's Brad doing the safe song, I think.
3 comedians working on jokes, doing it live for all you folks. Is this anything? Is this anything? Is this anything? You tell us.
Hey, he went for the high note, which I could appreciate.
Yeah.
But I do know that they are Christian, and that is clear in this obvious church song that they wrote. So, I mean, if that did not bring me back to me being a child listening to some hymn.
Oh, God, up in heaven,
we
you
love the Lord.
are the lamb, and we are the flock.
Well, now I'm glad though because I don't have the worst song pitch now.
Oh,
Come on, Brad wasn't really trying there.
he wasn't trying to.
He was laughing more. I called it.
Yes, you did.
Do we listen to the third one too?
Yeah, we got one more.
Oh, there's a third one? Wow, this is the best day.
I'm really excited. This is parody ITA.
All right.
Okay, so this is a parody song written by Veronica and Brad.
All right.
Here we go.
3 comedians who are also kind of friends. They bring their bits and jokes to their bi-weekly Zoom. They pitch them back and forth, searching for comedic north. They hope their comic stylings can stave off doom. Fearless straight men. They're bigger than an open mic. They're paid for it all the time. Is this anything? Guess we'll have to find out. That's all. Okay.
Yes.
Mwah!
Oh,
Perfect.
Looking for comedic north. That's genius.
Oh my
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's really good. What a great
And then
fucking
the
nerd.
rest of it was.
Yeah, but comedic
No,
north.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It was awesome. The whole thing. It was great. It's
This has
fantastic.
completely opened the door to just putting lyrics over karaoke versions of songs that already exist.
Yeah, now it's just endless. We can
That
Unbelievable.
might get us flagged for copyright.
Potentially.
potentially.
Poten-
No one
potentially.
told you this was anything.
There is not a program on Earth that would recognize that singing as "Don't Stop Believing." the program will be like, I think he's doing it, but honestly, I don't.
I think that's the final level of the Turing test. Is do you know what this is in reference to? Can you? Every robot's like, oh.
Three comedians working on jokes, doing it live for all you folks. Is this anything? Is this anything? Is this anything? You tell us. Oh my God.
Recording in progress.
Whoa. Okay.
Whoa, that is new.
Did you hear that? Okay. Okay.
did.
Cool. Yeah, I just
I
updated
consent.
Zoom and was not ready for that.
I consent to being recorded. I guess that's true. You gotta consent to these things.
Oh, it asked you for consent?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 2021, Brett.
Well, it didn't ask me for consent, and it went straight inside.
Well, yeah. Look how you're dressed.
I actually have one maybe final story to share with you guys about my roommate because I'm
Oh,
going to
he
be moving out
died.
of this apartment.
Oh.
I'm going to be moving out in a few days, so this might be the last
Oh.
argument we ever had. But we just had about an hour ago,
Oh,
so
your
I'm pretty
last
excited.
argument.
I know. I was
Aw.
tearing up, being like, "You're such an idiot, stupid. Why don't you get these things?" But it was, I was like really sentimental about it, because if you guys remember, we went over the story about the him being on my fire escape, yelling at me because I locked him out last time. So
you maliciously locked him out on purpose, which
Uh-huh.
should be impossible because he has a key, and he very reasonably decided to call the police because of this. We remember. You don't forget something so selfish, Rob, as your behavior.
So I don't know if I explicitly said this, but I actually gave him a bit of the benefit of the doubt in the aftermath of that, thinking that maybe 'cause he's from Brazil, so I think Portuguese is his first language, and I thought maybe the whole "you locked me out" thing honestly was maybe a language barrier situation, or just a wording that's just like, oh yeah, something like that, So I was like, because I've had other little small examples where I think, I don't think I would have used that article. I would have said instead of the, and stuff like that.
Sure.
So I was like, maybe that's what's going on. So anyway, today, he first asks, this isn't a big deal, and I'm totally, it's always so funny, like what I'm totally cool with and the things that I'm just like, absolutely not. He texted me early in the morning. He's like, hey man, can I borrow $20 because I don't have money on the laundry card, and me and Sam don't have cash. And I was like, yeah. And I just wake up and I just give him 20. Here you go.
I'm surprised you didn't wake up like, Rob, you didn't refill my laundry card.
It's empty. I don't. Did you empty
called the
my
cops.
laundry card?
I don't think that will ever not be funny.
Mwah. I love it.
So I give him the money, and then a little bit later, I wake up. I go downstairs to get a Red Bull. I come back upstairs. Anyway, now later they are cooking, some kind of breakfast lunch thing, and he goes, "Oh, hey, Rob," and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Could you just be more careful about locking the door, when you leave?" I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Yeah, because it just." This morning it's like you locked me out again. And I was like, okay. All right. And I said, well, I'll be perfectly honest with you, man. It's like, I'm only going to be here for another week. So in general, I guess you don't have to worry about that anymore, but I'm going to give you, and his girlfriend was also in the kitchen. So like, it was just the three of us. And I said, yeah, we're only going to have to deal with me for a couple more days. I said, but in the future, just coming from someone who's a little older than you, you take your keys when you leave the apartment in a major city. That's it. That's the only thing I got for you. And he was like, yeah, okay, but all right, bro. But could you maybe just really? And I'm like, yeah, dude, really? Like, I don't. I'm so confused. And then I was like, I said, honestly, last time I thought that maybe I was like, I thought maybe you just used weird wording when you said that I locked you up, but you truly think that I was in the wrong a couple weeks ago, don't you? He was like, well, bro, it's like you. I mean, okay, this morning I understand, like, but Sam was here, but like you knew we weren't there. Like our door was open. You knew we weren't in the kitchen. You knew we weren't in the living room, and you still left and you locked it anyway. And you see the key lock, and I was like, you think I have to know your whereabouts? I was like, you think I'm supposed to just be keeping track of you and where you are at all times? That's my responsibility to do? That's not that's not normal, man. People aren't supposed to be looking out for you like that. Just take care of yourself. Take your key. That's all you have to do. That's the only thing you have to do. And I used the line that we were talking about. I was like, I can't lock you out. Don't you get that? It's impossible for me to do that to you since you're the owner of a key to this apartment. That's only something you can do to yourself. And he's just like, all right, man. I mean, maybe agree to disagree, I guess. And I was like, no. This is like the strangest thing to me. He's like, bro, I didn't even leave the apartment. And I go, all right, I understand that in your head, that makes sense to you. I said, but I don't know where you are. Don't you understand that I don't know where you are? So you think about this. I really want you to think about this. When I leave the apartment, I'm supposed to say, Andre might be in the building. He might be downstairs. So maybe I should leave my door to my apartment with all my valuables just unlocked because he could be back in 5 minutes. What if you're not, man? What if I'm about to leave for the weekend and then I'm just like, yeah, I don't know, the key's here and I don't see, maybe he's going to be right back. So what if you left and you forgot your key, but you're gone for a couple of days or a week? So then I just leave the door unlocked. That's the go-to thing. I was like, that's just, I don't understand, man. It's not. And then we had a conversation about the little, the option inside the door where you can just leave it forever locked, which he was unaware of, by the way. And I was like, well, what if we just use that system? He's like, what system? I was like, the thing where you just close the door and it locks on its own. He's like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. And I was like, all right, well, if you don't know how doors in New York City work.
It really seems like a cultural thing. Like, they don't have doors in Brazil. And so it's just an impediment. Like, it's such a weird, think about it from this guy's perspective. He comes to this country. Every room that he goes into, he's got to do this dance that he's never done before. It's like a forbidden dance, like.
What he actually said was, Rob, you blocked me out because they don't have doors there. So you only cannot get in if somebody blocks the door, if they put like a refrigerator in front of it or something.
Or if you build a wall where the entrance is.
Or just building a door and putting it in. That's locking somebody out in Brazil.
Oh my God. Actually, the
bananas. Take your key. What is, this
is
psychotic.
Yeah. Is there any part of you, like when he's like, agree, disagree, are you like, I'm gonna turn him, or are you like, I'm just saying this for my own peace?
You know what? That was actually like one of the last things that he said, and maybe I jumped the gun on that. I actually prefer an agree to disagree type of thing. At the end of the day, I'm just kind of like, that's fine as long as you're not keep on coming at me. It was just that, like, he's pouring coffee. It was just like that, like. Like, I'm just such an idiot. Like, okay, man, whatever. Like, you're so off base on this. I was like, what is happening?
I can't wait to go back to Brazil and tell people the stories of my crazy roommate, my crazy American roommate. And everyone's going to laugh, and we're going to go, of course this guy Rob is wrong. Because as I mentioned, there are no doors in Brazil.
There was the most satisfying thing that happened in the argument. One was the sheer humor of him doing those little maneuvers where he's just like, wow, this guy is wacky. That was super internally funny to me. And then two was because his girlfriend was there the entire time. I rarely get to see her like reaction to these things, and I generally believe that her and I are on a similar wavelength as far as like just, I don't know, like sanity's concerned, I guess. But she didn't say a fucking word the whole time. She's just doing her thing, making breakfast, whatever, me and him going at it. And every once in a while, I'll say something and she'll just be like, she's kind of like smirks and shakes her head, like just a total like, oh, I say this shit to him all the time. Just these little looks. I'm just like, oh yeah, you notice that too? Oh yeah.
When she puts on her pants, is he like, baby, you locked me out? Lock me out.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I made a couple other points. One was like, people aren't, like from my perspective, I don't see why I'm supposed to be knowledgeable where you're at. Like because of your decisions, because of the way you want to live your life, you are making me decide how I'm going to like behave based on your whereabouts. I said, that's really strange to me. And then also, I said, imagine I was the best roommate ever. Okay. Imagine I was just like, hey, before I left the apartment, I was like, his keys are here. I don't know about that. Let me go check your room. No sleeping girlfriend. No, you're not in the kitchen. You're not in the bathroom. He could be in the building. You know what? Why don't I just be sure? And why don't I text you? How about I text him or I'll call him? And then I said, but what was going to happen if I did that, man? What was going to happen? And then he doesn't answer. And I was like, nothing, because you didn't take your fucking phone either.
Oh, man.
So what was I going to do 2 weeks ago other than just not go for an exercise? Was I just
before I wasn't going to go take a cardiovascular.
Sounds like it's just for like 2 hours picking up my aerobics.
So there was just none of this stuff was really kind of resonating with him. But then afterwards, I could tell that there was some conversation between him and her, and then like he saw some of the light because of what she said. I think she took the angle of like, people here, maybe it's here or maybe in general, it's like people want to be safe. They want to keep their door locked.
Brazil also not known for its safety. I don't know a lot about Brazil.
Maybe
I included the
maybe
here.
This is the reason,
There aren't criminals because of poverty. There's criminals because of opportunity.
Why would you not just like walk into someone's apartment and take what you need? It's Brazil.
They actually call the cops to say that somebody locked them out of the apartment that they're trying to break into in Brazil.
Well, that's why he texted me for the 20. He's like, normally I just walk in and take money, but your door is closed and there's so many impediments. I don't understand. In Brazil, we just take the money.
When he goes to a restaurant and someone's in the bathroom, does he like, hey, wait, I need to get in there?
You know what? Not super far up at all. I haven't been bothered in the bathroom more than when he was living with me.
Oh, wow.
It's unbelievable. I mean,
that is a huge pet peeve of mine.
Him and his girlfriend, they do their thing. Like, I mean, they just in and out, constant, like, doesn't matter, shower, poop, nothing. I'm just like, okay, that's cool. No judgment, don't care. But when I'm in there, I'm like, leave me the fuck alone. Get out of here.
Rob, I know you're showering, but I have to poop. Can I come in and poop while you're showering?
I know you're pooping, but I also have to poop. Can I just do it between your legs?
Rob, you locked me out of the toilet.
That's not when he actually locked the door. That was just Rob closing his legs as they were trying to poop at the same time.
So anyway, farewell. Mwah. And
man.
maybe next week, guys, you will see me recording from somewhere else.
Ooh.
Not 100% sure exactly.
Is it going to be my apartment?
Oh, that might be great. I think that we should at least do 1 week there. That'd be fun. Yeah, I've got
Yeah,
a bunch of places I might be bouncing around. This is gonna be the summer, Rob. It could be really exhausting, or it could be really fun.
The reason I asked you when you were leaving, Rob, is because I'm getting some friends together in Central Park, and I wanted to invite you.
Oh, so cool. On June 12th, you said?
12th, which I don't know if that's gonna work. What is going on here, Brett?
Just inviting Rob?
You
Sounds
have
like
already been invited.
But Rob didn't know that.
Wow. I got played.
I wanted to make Rob feel special for just a second.
It was confusing. I was like, well, surely he's gonna be invited. He's about to be invited. But then when Jarret was like, what are you doing, Brett? I was like, do you not understand why he's doing that?
So I wasn't sure what the bit was, and I also wasn't sure if it was a bit. So I had like 10 trains running in different directions in my brain. Also, I did mushrooms yesterday, so I'm just like a little bit of an idiot.
That's why you're wearing that shirt.
I think we have talked about this before, but I get post-project depression, and so in order to circumvent that, I have tried this a couple of times where I take mushrooms right after the project is over, and that way I can sort of, interrupt the depression. And it seems like it's working so far.
That's great. And you just got back from tour with Steve.
Yes. Yes,
which
that
was
is great.
how long? How many days in a row did you do?
I think it was 16 days. 16 days in a row. Well, I mean, we took Mondays off, of course, but also the days off we were doing Zoom shows.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Podcast recordings with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
How was the tour? So, have you talked about it on this? I know you were on it, but now, like, you looking back, it's like when you're on tour with, especially at the grueling pace with Steve, it's kind of hard to process. You're like, there's crowds. I'm driving and it's fun. It's like hard to process.
I mean, it was a straight up blast. I had never worked with Rivers that intimately before, so it was really great getting to know him and working.
Oh, you guys
with
made
him.
love?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Wow.
Nice.
Because I said the word intimately. Guys, you gotta slow things down today.
Sorry.
All right.
No, just
and,
because you knew him, like in a biblical sense.
How else do you describe when you've never sucked someone's dick before? All right, that's the. I really thought I was gonna get a pop.
I was trying to genuinely answer your question.
Yeah, me too. I think we were both. If you look back
answer
on the tape, you'll see both of our eyes go up and to the left.
I don't think I've ever done it. How do I describe that?
Anyways, so yeah, super duper fun. A lot of great shows. You know, got to do all this new material that I'd worked on with you guys on Is This Anything, and it was just wonderful. It was just wonderful, straight up great. It was slightly too long for my taste. You know, I like to do like 10 days to 2 weeks. Like that's my ideal tour. But it was just wonderful. It was just so great to get back out there, and we're like relearning how to do all the, you know, the process of it. Like, when do we set up merch? When do we set up the cameras? Rivers and I were switching back and forth who was going to be the host and who was going to be the feature.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was just great. So yeah, and then, you know, I flew in on Saturday. And then yesterday I like got groceries and then did mushrooms, and I did a TikTok live on mushrooms, and that's always super fun. Yeah, and then now I'm just like, you know, first day back, basically sober, gonna get back into the swing of things, gonna get back to work, and I'm excited about that. And that's the whole thing that you try to circumvent with post-project depression, is that when you get done with something, you're just not excited about doing anything anymore because you want to relax. Or at
Right.
least, you know, that's one way of thinking about it.
Yeah, mushrooms is a nice reset, and it has that. One of the things that I like about it, and I've never been afraid of with my addictive personality, is that there's no crash from it. It's like a slow taper. So you're just like slow. You're like, the mushrooms are great. They wear off like noticeably, but then over the next like day and a half, it's just like the glow kind of slowly sticks around, and yeah. So that definitely makes sense with you coming in looking how you're looking. At first, I thought you were disheveled, but I think it's more of like I'm just like getting back
I
to
have
it.
not had a chance to really catch up. Like yesterday was, you know, like doing mushrooms and everything, but it's not like that was relaxing, you know, like
Right.
I was on drugs. So
Oh yeah, I mean,
you know,
that's people are always like, oh, you get to do mushrooms all the time. I'm like, by the second dose, I'm like, within a 5-day span, I'm like, I don't want to do this again in 5 days.
really
It's
is a
v-
mental workout.
It's so
you know?
fun. It's like going to the amusement park, but it's exhausting.
That's a good amusement park. It's actually a good way to put it. I could imagine like your third day at Disney. You're just like,
Yeah.
You start doing the rides for the kids just because you need a break, you know? It's like in the little train that just goes around in a circle, and you're like, yeah, yeah. Oh, I needed this.
How is your TikTok going? I don't feel like we haven't talked about your TikTok in a while. Is it still popping?
Well, I took a little bit of an unintentional break when the move happened, just because I was so crazy busy.
when
with
Trump went out
that.
of office.
That's what he meant by the move. Trump moving out of the White House.
Well, I wasn't feeling inspired the way I normally was feeling.
There was
You know-
something missing, something that I didn't think I would miss, but that I'm realizing I need for my career. No, and so I had a couple of ideas of things that I wanted to film right before the tour. And this was actually why tour was so exhausting, was because I kind of entered the tour already like frazzled. And the last couple of days I was like, I really want to film some stuff so I can edit it on the road and start releasing it to TikTok again. And so while I was on the road, I was able to put out 3 more TikToks, two more videos.
Oh, great.
And it's so weird how obviously the algorithm rewards you for being a consistent uploader, because as I had not been uploading anything for a while, my regular views started going down. My follower count started going down, 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 down. And then the first video I put up, it's like all the numbers just sort of like start getting back up and start picking up. And then the second video you put up, it's like, oh, okay, now we got a little momentum. You know, like things are back on track here. You know, and so yeah, so now I'm basically in the thick of trying to be a more regular producer like I was before the move and before the tour happened.
How about you, Brett? What's going on in your world?
Boy, now I feel you on a previous episode said like
I know,
as soon as somebody
I know.
asked you, and I was like, he fucfucking nailed it. If you don't think about what you're coming in with, and it didn't like just pop in, you're like, I put on shirt. Wait, I have legs. I have big legs.
Are you excited about going on tour, Brett?
I am. Yeah, I am excited because I'm getting like the sweet deal. I think one of the things I love about going on tour with Steve is that it is like just city to city to city, but that also I would prefer, like in an ideal world, I would prefer to tour where I'm in a city for 2 or 3 days and then I move on to another one, because it's just like just having a place to like, you know, unpack a little bit and then not have to like scramble to get to a new place. I just feel a little more settled. People are like always like, oh wow, I did 48 states in 8 months, so people are like, oh, you must have seen such cool sites. I'm like, I haven't seen one site because I don't have time. At most, I would be like, what's the best place I have to eat around here? On the way out, I would get lunch.
Yeah.
If I had free time. But yeah, I never sightsee. So it's just a little bit more time to like get acclimated. If I have, there are plenty of friends that I have around the country where I'm like, I'm in your city. Can you come to the show between 8:15 and 8:20? And then I can say hi before the show starts. And then bye. And then sometimes I just don't see them. So we're going to be 2 nights and then 3 nights. First Sacramento and then San Francisco.
That's so good.
So I'm pretty pumped about that. I feel like there's other stuff going on with me.
Well, I'll tell you
I don't
this,
know.
and you can think about it. Is
Okay.
When we were in Indianapolis,
Go ahead.
I can't take this now, guys. I can't take it. Imagine I just got off of a red eye. That's where I am at.
What, you want to just not do a bit?
He was thinking about it. It was so funny.
First day in Indianapolis. I can't remember if I told you guys the story already. Rivers and I were walking to the venue, and I'm just like walking around like, oh man, Indianapolis, I don't think I've ever been here before. This is so great. Like, wow, cool architecture. Wow, look at all this stuff. Oh man. And as soon as I turned the corner and saw the venue, I was like, I have been here before. I did the show here. I performed here.
Yeah.
The only thing I recognize is hotels and venues when I go to a new city. In fact, I recognized the city, the hotel that we stayed at when I almost lost the camera bag. As soon as I started pulling in, I was like, Steve, this is where I almost lost the camera bag. And he's
You're
like,
like,
are you
the
sure?
trauma's coming back. I don't feel good. I feel stressed.
He's like, are you sure? I was like, let me run to the lobby in desperation, and maybe that'll jog my memory.
That's really funny.
Jarret on tour is
Almost lost the camera bag.
Almost lost the camera bag. But that leg was the first time I had really gotten to know Jarret. And he is a very, very good driver, like super, like a pilot instincts, just like very good driver, very calm, very chill, all the time, just cool, collected, always has his shit together, always getting stuff done. Never have to worry like, oh shit, Jarret was supposed to set up merch. Did he? He always did. But then he would occasionally have these moments where he just turned into like a panicky teenager because he fucked something up. And that was one of those moments. So we would call him, like when he was normal, just driving, he's got his sunglasses on. That's Jayhawk. And then when he loses the camera back, he's Jarret. Oh, Jarret
What did
messed up.
you do? I lost the camera bag. All right, are you guys ready to get?
Oh
this
yeah, let's do some jokes,
show
baby.
started?
Oh, yeah.
Bits?
I thought this was just
Are you-
catch-ups.
Catch-ups.
Oh, I did want to tell you one thing that you reminded me of when you were having that moment of like, oh, I have been here before. I watched this movie with Ryan Gosling. I think it's called The Pine Behind.
The Place Beyond the Pines.
Place
I think
Beyond the
it's called.
Pines. Yes. I watched that after having an edible, a very strong edible that was made for my mom for her multiple sclerosis. Somebody like specifically made it for her. I took it, watched the whole thing, Then maybe like 4 or 5 years later, I took an edible. I was like, oh, what's this movie? I watched it. Not until the last 3 minutes I was like, I've seen this.
My dad does that just that's like his steady state now. And it's so funny, but also a little bit annoying because I'll be like, hey, you want to watch this movie? And he's like, sure. Yeah. All right, cool. And we'll just sit, and he's sitting there, he's watching it. And then somewhere very close to the end, he's like, oh, yeah, I have seen this. Dad, the whole reason I popped it is because I thought you hadn't seen it. Like, I don't have to rewatch it. It's like, yeah, because I knew once he came in, he was going to shoot her because I was like, well, fine.
It'd be funny if also like leading up to that moment, he was like super into it. He's like, whoa, I've seen this.
What's gonna, wait a minute. Oh, yeah. I have done that. I've forgotten that I've seen movies, but I usually remember within like 5 or 10 minutes of watching the movie. Kirsten and I have an ongoing fight right now about whether or not we watched Akira together. And I am 100% confident that we did not, because I have not seen Akira since I was in high school. And even to make sure, I started rewatching Akira like a couple of months ago, and everything was brand new. And I was like, yeah, I don't remember any of this. I've never seen this in recent memory.
That did happen to me once when I was like kind of in my most philandering, where I think I was like, oh, because your brother works at the water park. And she's like, no, he doesn't. And I was like, he doesn't? I was like, oh, fuck.
Let's do an episode, guys.
Hey,
they were doing an episode.
Guys.
This is an episode.
Let's get to the
we've established that part of the episode is us catching up with each other. So this is the episode.
Yeah.
We can say let's move on to the joke portion of the episode.
Yeah.
Let's move
totally
on to
fine
the
with that.
joke portion of the episode.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you would have enjoyed this more, Mr. Can't Follow the Bits. Jared's feedback's gonna be like, "Whoa, can you just chill?
Just
on that
give me
joke?
a moment, bro."
Let me just think for a second. Okay, I spoke to drunk Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Hey.
Oh, all right.
Yes. And she has her order for today because, as we know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg cares about two things. She cares about law and order.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
what is the order for today?
Nice.
The order for today is...
Actually, she cares about 3 things. The third thing is getting fucked up.
I came here to drink gin and tell you when you guys are doing your stuff, and I'm all out of gin. Right.
I did just hang out with an attorney, and she was like, "Who are some of your favorite comedians?" And then I told her, and then she was like, and I was like, "Who are some of your favorite attorneys?" And I thought I was being funny, but then she gave me her favorite attorneys, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, sure, yeah, that makes sense." She's like, "This justice and this." I was like, "No, okay, cool. This isn't as funny as I thought it was going to be, but it's interesting."
Well, give me some of your favorite of her dissenting opinions.
Oh, you're a fan, really? That's so funny, and it would be so great if she's naming people like as though you would know them. You know, I was like, well, obviously there's Aaron Gerard. He's
right. That's what I thought it would. That's what I thought would be funny about it.
Appellate court, of course. So, you know. He didn't really start getting into his good stuff until he made.
Yeah, she actually did like a perfect job of ruining my bit by being like, this Ruth Bader Ginsburg, obviously you know her, but this is what I really loved about her. And then also there's Justice this, and she was like, and if you don't know who he is, he did this and he did that, and I was like, oh cool, this isn't funny.
You're like, I like Ted Alexander.
I was
heard of him.
trying to get a laugh, not learn something. Okay. All right. Our order this week is Brett, Jarret, Rob.
Woo!
Thank you, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
BGR.
I want a little like, you know, picture of her. Like, thanks, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and then she comes in. She's like, "You got it." And then scrolls off. In my brain.
You have no idea how doable that is, Rob. Your wish is
he
my
knows.
command.
Almost every time Rob says, "I want a thing to happen" in the episode, we got graphics, no matter who's editing. So he knows what he's doing.
She has a real deep voice. He's like, "You got it." All right.
You got it. All right.
We're worried about likeness, right?
Sunglasses.
So we can get in trouble for this? I don't think so.
Maybe a couple years ago, but not anymore.
All right, Brett, you are
Okay.
let's hear these bits.
Okay. All right. I don't have this. I have the idea here. So we'll work on the wording here.
Sure.
In order for the word scapegoat to become a common use of phrase, how many times do you think people were getting away with blaming stuff on goats? Oh, I didn't steal your wheelbarrow, man. That was the goat. Goats.
There's like a whole town that's like these fucking goats. I can't stole my wheelbarrow, fuck my wife. These fucking goats, man. I love this idea.
Oh, that's so
Excellent.
good.
Excellent.
Yeah, what do you think is the funniest thing or a funny thing that you could blame on a goat?
I like that Jarret already went to fuck my wife. That, you know, because I can imagine a goat, goats are typically known for eating lots of things. So like if something goes missing, you could imagine that maybe the goat ate the thing. It's always about eating. But then as soon as you start getting into like sexual crimes or maybe even white collar crimes, you know, like tax evasion.
Well, I think it's important that you start off with things that a goat could actually do, like eat something or break something or take something. You know?
I didn't steal your crops. That was
My goat.
I saw a goat hanging around. So.
And I think once you start like getting into the absurd, I think it's important to leave it in the time of like wheelbarrows and things like that. But then eventually you could get to, you know, tax evasion and.
Yeah, I could say like, I wish you could still get away with that because
that's funny.
Then
that's
a good term.
Rwandan genocide.
But you know, actually, it's also funny is because there's two parts of this. It can't just be people blaming goats, but there's also a period of time. I don't know why I think this is so funny. There's also a period of time where people start to get wise to it.
that is actually my favorite part about it. The people are like,
wait a minute,
come on now. The realization, I think, is really that they've been had for 20 years.
Starting to think this wasn't a goat.
I think it's weird that you're saying that your goat ate all my crops because you also said that he ate Aaron's crops, and he would be full if they ate both. I don't think one goat could eat that much, you know? I am starting to suspect that your goat did not do this.
We don't even have a large goat population in this part of the world.
The guy's like, you know what? Must have been a llama. And they're like, all right, okay, we know what's going on here, buddy.
Scape-llama. Scape-llama.
And then the big accusation is like, I'm starting to think that Terry has been just scapegoating his way around all these things that he's been doing himself. Scapegoat.
What is the scape part of scapegoat? Is that a
Escape.
word by itself?
Escape.
Escape?
Yeah, I think it's
So like
from
you're
escape,
you're escaping
blame.
guilt. Blame.
Yeah.
Okay. Like you're eschewing blame or guilt. Okay, I'm down with that.
We could look it up. That would probably
Yeah,
be fun.
yeah, let's do
Blaming a goat for the things that he has done to escape blame.
Before you look this up, Brett, if you find information that's going to undercut the logic of your joke, does that bother you?
No, not at all.
Great. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll be like, that's stupid. I look it up. I go, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, it may make me
I can't
love
do
it
the
a
joke
little
anymore.
bit less. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I still might go with it. Or I can incorporate it somehow, like with I did with the horse hooves Jello joke, where the guy's like the first guy to make Jello is like, "You just gonna throw all them horse hooves away? I can mix them with strawberry." I found out that it's actually made out of cow bones.
Right. Yeah.
Which I think is equally funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Gonna throw them cow bones away.
the cowboys away. I have a similar. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. The English scapegoat is a compound of the archaic verb scape, which means escape, and goat, and is modeled on misreading the Hebrew Azazel, which is probably the name of a demon
But as they incorporated, we're gonna do it.
Or the goat that departs. More modern translations render scapegoat in this text as Azazel. Yeah. So basically, it's like a goat demon. I see the symbology there.
Okay.
That makes sense.
All right,
But
sweet.
yeah, I guess I can't do the joke. Fucking sucks. God damn it.
I disagree. I
No,
don't know how
I
many
was joking,
Hebrew
I was joking.
scholars are going to be in the audience.
I do like a bunch of rabbis.
This is not how this happened in the past.
It was a demon fucked your wife.
I like the idea too of like, was that a goat or was that a demon shaped like a goat?
That's probably where sin came from too. You know, instead of being like, "Did you do this?" No, it was the Satan. Satan made me do this.
Possess my body.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Sorry about that. Maybe you guys should have exercised me earlier. Did you ever think about that? It's not my fault. You guys didn't notice there was a demon in me? I'm doing all these crimes. Does that seem like a thing I would do? Fuck you guys. That is so rude. That is... Wow. Wow.
I had a similar experience when I had this idea about the LGBT community. And I just thought, I was like, LGBT, like that order, the order kind of sounds like the order in which that the people joined the group. Because like organizing a group, that seems like a super lesbian thing to do. Like we should have a thing where we're like, you know, we're fighting for rights and marching. And then later on, it's like, all right, we'll get some gay men in there. And then bisexuals were like, can we come too? And they're like, yeah, you know what? We're like doing this. We're not just weekend warriors. We're kind of doing this all the time. I don't know. And I kind of went down the road like that. And that was just like a stupid thought. And then I was like, I should research this. And it was just like 100% correct. I mean, it was exactly how it played out. And I was like, wow, that's so weird. I just
They were like,
thought that
you know, gay rights is a pretty lesbian thing to do. Well, how did you phrase it? I forget.
It was just more the friction between like, you know, having bisexuals be like part of the group was a big deal. And the friction of including trans people into that structure was also a big enough deal within the gay community. And I was like, it's like, this is too charged and this is too real. And I'm not even gonna touch this. But
You know,
it
it'd
was
be funny
interesting.
though to go into like the meetings and the like adding a new letter is like the exact same as like legalizing gay marriage. They're like, oh, we're just gonna let bisexuals in. What's next? Are we gonna let rabbits in?
Well, what if I want to marry my toaster? Wait, I heard it. Sorry. My bad.
How come
I can look back
there
into it, see if I'm right.
isn't a podcast with gay women called Lesbianist?
There
Good idea.
probably is.
Yeah, that's actually what I was Googling. Just to make sure I didn't see anything, but I was also unsure on how to spell that. Well, thanks guys. Those great notes for the joke. I'm glad you guys liked it. I feel
It's great. It's hilarious.
I feel enthused to play around with a little bit more. You guys gave me some good ideas. Jarret,
All right. So this is a bit of a longer bit. So bear with me. There's like a couple of different sections here. All right. So talking about my fiance, I don't like to brag, but I fully crushed the engagement. I fucking nailed it. 10 out of 10. She was so happy for weeks after I proposed. She glowed. People had to put sunglasses on around her. The people at her office got a tan. And thinking on it, how hypnotized with love she was, I really should have taken more advantage of that. Like, I could have gotten her to do anything. If at 4 a.m. I had said, baby, I am craving a slice of pizza from Venice, Italy, in 20 minutes, she would have had it. There would have been a fiance-shaped hole in the wall before I had even stopped talking. She would have run there. And it makes me mad thinking about how little I cashed in on that. Like, I think about politics. I could have ended climate change. We could have free healthcare now. I'm pretty sure she got Biden elected. It was like she had superpowers. It made me wish that Thanos was real. I could have been like, I'm a little worried about this Thanos guy. Boom, he's dead. I got all the Infinity Stones. All right, what do you guys think?
Few thoughts. So one, when you're talking about how good your proposal was, throughout the whole joke, I want actual real examples of a bunch of things. When you start saying like the glow, that people needed sunglasses and stuff, it's you're telling me instead of showing me. So I want an example. It almost sounded like I wasn't getting that she was so in love. It's almost sounded braggadocious, like I fucking nailed it so hard. And I would be a little bit more into the joke of like, you know, this is how much I nailed it. And then the rest of how much you nailed it is evidenced by her behavior. So if you could think of an example of how lovey-dovey she was with you, that would really help me invest in the joke a little bit more.
Okay. All right. I'll give that a go on the second draft.
One other thought, but I forgot what it was. So, Rob, do you know what your thought was?
I don't have fully formed thoughts yet.
Well, if
no.
you say
I
something,
like it.
give Brett time to think.
Yeah. Okay. What was the other thought? So, actually, run through the joke again if you can.
Absolutely.
That would help me.
All right. I won't go into the whole story about the engagement, but I fully crushed it. She was so happy.
I remembered it.
What?
It had nothing to do with anything you just said. I just happened to remember it. What if you were like, now I understand why people record their engagements. I used to think it was dumb, but now, but it would be easier for you to be like, you know, cash in on it now if you had a recording of how much you crushed it.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot of like, it feels too silly to me to work.
Could I ask you some real questions that may help you get into it?
Of course.
What did you actually do for your engagement?
Well, see, here's the thing is like, it's such a long story of like all the different things that I did to make sure that everything went well.
Yeah.
It was perfect for us.
Right.
Like, she did not want anything in public. She did not want a spectacle, a flash mob, even as something as simple as like going out to dinner and doing it at the restaurant would be too much attention. And so I was like, well, I know that she doesn't want that. And then I was like, all right, well, it has to be special still. Like, it has to be a thing still. So I was like, you know, our 4-year anniversary was coming up. And so I was like, okay, well, what if I got us like a really fancy hotel room and I did it in there? And then that would be like the specialness of it, you know? And so I was like, okay, that sounds like a good thing. But I was also like, well, she's going to know something is up if I just say, hey, we're going to stay at a fancy hotel for our anniversary this year. So I have a friend who's an actor who I told him, I was like, hey, man, would you pretend that you have a free hotel room that you're going to give to us like for the night and then just happens to line up with our anniversary? And he was like, yeah, sure. And so I even scripted like the emails that went back and forth in case Kirsten asked to see. There have been a couple of surprises that I fucked up in the past. Like she saw on my calendar like the word Berbiglia and she's like, oh, are you taking me to see Berbiglia? Is that a surprise? And I was like, yes. So I was really covering my
Good job
tracks
on your
there.
part, by the way. Real slick.
So this time you wrote Berbiglia in the calendar again.
Big secret proposal idea.
I think Mike Berbiglia is going to propose to me.
I mean, you could even put in that one detail and it would give me a little bit. If you said, just to give you an example, one part of it is that I hired an actor and scripted emails just to throw her off the scent of why we would be going to a fancy hotel.
Okay, that might work. Anyway, so get to the hotel nice and early, put on a suit, you know, flowers, candles, like all over the room. She came in completely surprised, and then like we had like a really nice, just like going over it, and me being like, oh, she's like, I totally didn't expect it. I just walked in here and thought this and did this, you know, blah blah blah. And then we went to go see a musical, and because that's like our tradition on our anniversary. And then during the musical, she was just like,
What musical did you guys see?
we saw Come From Away, which is a real fucking sleeper. Not enough people talk about how great that musical is. One act, fucking killer.
It is a
So
sleeper
fucking
in
good.
that I wanted to fall asleep when I watched it.
Did you really see Come From Away and you didn't like it?
I liked it just fine, and that's how
It was like, I wish I stayed from away.
It was just the structure. It was just like I just wanted them to sing a song, just one song. The pilot has a song, and everybody else is just like they're just doing this thing where it's like they keep on moving everything around, and all the scene transitions are them just like I am gonna talk, and then this is gonna happen. Bum 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 bum. January 4th, blah 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 blah, and then bum 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 bum, and they just keep on moving around. It's like,
That's what I love about it. It's like a great pacing, and I think they go back and forth from like the different realities. Everybody's playing like 10 different characters. Like I thought that was really smart, and I was invested, man. I was in it.
I get it. Yeah, I think. I mean,
So it must have been really annoying to have your fiance there, like,
It's like, baby, watch the show. Watch the show.
It's about 9/11. You're being disrespectful.
just looking at you.
Yeah.
We are not far off from reality here, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I actually think that's really funny for the joke. Like if you forget my other note, if you say I did so well that we went to go see a really good musical, and the entire time she didn't even look at the musical, she just looked at me and make the face that you made before. That's very funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe that sets up the reality a little bit better of
And
like,
it's so
me
sweet.
getting her to do
I'm so
things.
invested in that.
Yeah.
I think that's really cute for sure. And then and it also speaks more to the power, because what you have shifted towards, which is pretty funny, is the power that you didn't realize that you had. And I didn't really necessarily get that until a couple of iterations. First, you're like, I crushed it, and she was so happy, and then I realized the power that I had. Or whatever, but then this gives me that example of like just a little hint of that, like, oh, she was so love struck and she was so this, and it was just like, yeah.
And if you have that example of the musical or whatever it is that they get, which I do like musical because I think the face you made is really funny, but if you go from there, then it gives you on the next part of the joke where you're saying like, I could have gotten this, I could have gotten that. It gives you somewhere to play off of. There could be some play on like, now if I go to she'll be like, if I'm like, can you get me pizza? She's like, I'm going to see a musical. See, that's not it, but you see it like there's some way to play on it there. It gives you like a launch point for the second part of the joke.
Yeah.
The only way I can get her to make that face again now is if I blank.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any way to get back into that place. Like I've already done the biggest thing that I'll do,
Oh yeah, that is a very funny premise. Is like you've peaked at excitement.
Yeah, you've peaked romance.
So maybe you're like that.
Again.
So you're like delaying the wedding as long as possible, so you stay on the top of the precipice.
Yeah.
Well, you can't propose again,
right?
I think you guys will think this is funny. Kirsten can hear this, and she can hear my side of this, and she just texted me, "Give me a baby."
Jarret just misinterprets and he's like,
where did you get this? Where did you get this baby?
You're like, shh, it's time for me to cash in.
Look at me like you did it come from away.
But again, the baby thing is like, I can't surprise her with that. I can't one day be like, hey, baby, guess what? You're pregnant. Like she's going to know that before I do.
Not if you change your birth control out.
That's true. There's still a surprise. And you could come up with phony emails from doctors saying you're not pregnant. Really set the stage. And then you can get like a really nice hospital room, Just like, and then you show up and you're in a suit. And she's like, what's going on? You're like, you're 9 months pregnant.
That is fucking hysterical. And these emails that I'm going to forge from her doctor, like, hey, Kirsten, just got your blood work back. Everything looks good. Definitely not pregnant. And
and I don't know if you recognize this doctor you pull off his mustache as the actor from your engagement.
all the nurses start doing come from away in the hospital.
I always thought it'd be really funny or just a funny concept of like, because at the height of like flash mob engagement, if you just did a lot of misdirections where like you had a flash mob and then you got down on one knee and you were like, you want to get pizza later? And they just kept doing these elaborate things until the point where your girlfriend is just like totally desensitized. She's like, oh, this is another bullshit. And then you just propose like out of nowhere, like while she's taking a shit or something.
I last Jedi'd you.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other thoughts about that? About the silly examples of what I could have gotten if I had just monopolized on it more?
We kind of didn't even get to that part yet. So you kind of pivot. You pivot pretty hard to politics or Thanos, like other Jarret related things that you think like would be fun for you. Maybe for me, I guess I'm losing track of her. I don't know, her abilities to do some of these things. It seems weird to say, but I'm like, I want to get one concrete example. Did you give a concrete example of something that she did do for you?
No.
Because of that thing? So yeah, you jumped right into like, I could have gotten her to do anything. And I'm like, but I didn't even hear one thing that you got her to do or that she offered to do. Like, the weeks, even months following this, it was just like, you know, I could do no wrong, or I felt like a superhero, or I just felt so something, or I'm not sure what the reality is.
I could have cheated on her, and she'd be like, "At least as long as you're not marrying her."
Just give me her baby when you're all done.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to communicate that. The reality of the situation was just, she made some certain overtures that were like, it just made it so clear that I could do no wrong, that I could, you know, ask her to do my laundry, ask her to find us a new apartment, ask her to, you know, blah, blah, blah. And she would have been like, yes, 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 yes. And so I don't know how to create that ladder.
Yeah,
because I never actually asked for anything.
Right. What's hard, I think the difficulty to do this is that you're going to, if you start doing this, it sounds like from the jump that you're taking advantage of the situation right from the jump. And so like the goodwill that you sort of built up, it already kind of starts to wane when you go. And then I asked her to do this and she just did it, or it's just weird. It's a kind of an awkward jump. But I just thought of something as I was reasoning that out, which is like, it's not too maybe dissimilar to this Pakistan story joke that I had, and maybe you found yourself in a situation where you needed to ask her to do something. You didn't mean to, but you're like, oh my god, you know, I totally screwed up. Could you? And she was just like, baby, like, come on, you know, like we're gonna spend the rest of our lives together, of course. Like I'll do this for you, type of thing. And then you're just like, oh well, okay, thank you. And then there was this realization of like, oh, like, I don't know. It's hard because I just wasn't making the leap of like, she loves me, she's looking at me googly eyed, to she'll do anything for me. Maybe they don't have to. Maybe I'm making this up. And maybe that's just part of the fun absurdism of it, but I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, I feel very shaky about this. This is like my, reshooting Die Hard joke where I'm like, it's a silly idea that I like, but my confidence in it working on stage is low.
What if Kirsten was a jelly donut?
Okay. All right. Stick up for the fans. Here's an idea. What if
for the fans.
I create a fake thing that I didn't ask for, but that you just did, you know? So the reality is that I left for tour like 2 or 3 days later. And what if I was like crazy busy beforehand? I just happened to mention like, babe, I got to go to the store for a couple of things and I haven't even packed yet. And then I leave and I come back and my bag is packed already. You know, maybe
nice.
something like that.
Yeah. Because you don't ask for it.
I feel like there is somewhere, if you can find that thing of like, she did this, and then you're having this realization of like, well, now she's getting mad at me for, you know, normal reasons. Is there a way I can unpropose? Can I hold it over some way? You know, just trying to gain leverage back. I think that might be a funny angle.
Yeah, I didn't even mention the ring yet. The ring was like, the serendipity of the ring was like perfect. I looked at her Instagram for jewelers that she was following. I happened to pick like her favorite jeweler and her favorite ring from that jeweler. You know? And so it was just like 10 out of 10, like every fucking thing, you know? And so I did do a little bit of that as a joke afterwards. Like, you know, she would make a joke about like, you can have the ring back, and I would be like, cool. And she's like, no, I love it.
She's on her podcast right now being like, so I leave out my Instagram.
Well, no, she definitely did things. She left the trail of breadcrumbs for me. But the fact that I picked the exact right ring is like, you know.
She's like, have you been talking to your actor friend in a while? I haven't heard about him. You should really reconnect with him. Yeah.
Isn't it fun how he like sometimes gets hotel rooms that he doesn't have to use? You know? No, this is how well the ruse worked. On the way to the hotel, she was telling me that she was on his IMDb, basically thinking like, this is so nice of Josh. I should watch more of his things. Yeah, thanks so much for the feedback, guys. Next up, we got Rob Ryan. But before we do, just want to remind everybody to check out the Patreon, patreon.com/ITApod. A lot of great exclusive content on there. The high writing challenges, story time, show and tell. It is you get discounts on tickets depending on what tier you're at. We got stickers going out to people soon. It is a dope place to be.
Do you have the sticker design?
I know I have a bunch of stickers designed.
Oh, do you like? Could we show people what they look like
right now?
Yeah,
we can put them in post. Take a look at this one. I do have. Let me see if I can share real quick the ones that I have already. All right, so this is one sticker that I have designed.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. That's
What
the Look Out
joke
Rob
is this?
moment.
Oh, look at Rob. Yes, that's right.
Mhm. Can you imagine getting stickers like that and more, guys? So check out that Patreon, subscribe to all the channels, YouTube, etc. And take it away, Rob Ryan.
All
Rob
right.
Ryan, yay!
Thank you guys so much. So here's the joke idea I had for today. And Jarret, your story reminded me of a different joke that I swear I thought of and never wrote down. And I was like, shoot, I just lost it. And then I was like, oh, I got it again. So I was pretty excited about that.
All right.
I don't think I'll share it today because it's just an idea. I might
you
spruce it up and
tease.
share it next week. So joke for today was I am happy that that trans people are able to live their true lives and come out and be who they are, and that it's just more acceptable for us to realize that there are trans people out there. In part, even if just so that I am able to maintain my own ridiculous concept of my own masculinity. Like for example, if at some point in my life I ever looked at a guy and I thought, oh, that guy's kind of attractive. Now in my brain, I get to be like, well, he's probably a woman. That's what's going on there. I'm not gay. that attractive man, probably he's a woman. That's what's going on there. He's a woman, and that's why I'm attracted to that, because I'm not. I'm straight, Or that one time in grade school when that girl beat me up, that was a boy. That's what happened there. Okay, Susie did not kick the crap out of me. He's probably a boy. That's what I'm thinking.
Love it.
I think it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brett.
The one note I would say, instead of just saying masculinity, I would say my heterosexual toxic masculinity.
Oh yeah.
That's
Something like
a
that. I
little
couldn't
bit
think
more
of the
like
word.
Right. More what you're representing, the kind of homophobic, get beat up. I think the toxicity needs to be in there. But I love this kind of, it's fine. Like that. That's very, very, very funny to me. I'm cool.
I couldn't think of the word, and you could see I was kind of slowing up there because I was like, oh, what's the thing? But anyway, those words are great.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the sort of like the subtext of a lot of the moves in this joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is a type of gay joke that it's just funny for a guy to like look at somebody and think they're attractive and they turn around and they're a guy and they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
And that I don't love that kind of joke. I feel like we're past this, like let's, it's fine either way. The stigma of being gay should not be a part of our jokes, I think, anymore.
Okay, I'm down with that.
And so I don't know if there's here's the thing is like I'm a little hypersensitive about it. I'm sure that there are people in the LGBTQ community who are like, no, the way you're telling the joke is great and everything. It feels like a minefield to me. It feels like something that I would want to be. If this was my joke, I would be extremely careful about it.
Mm-hmm.
How to word everything,
I do think definitely it's tricky waters, choppy waters, but I would urge you to be very careful with the wording and work that out. I think the nod to by calling it toxic masculinity, you're knowingly saying this is a bad thing that I'm engaging in.
Yes,
I'm admitting my flaw here, that I'm regressive. And I want to hold on to that. And it's a wink to the audience. And obviously, and you could just, if they're going to listen to any other part of Rob's set, they're going to be like, obviously this guy doesn't feel this way. If this guy was attracted to a dude, he would just be like, yeah, I like dudes.
Okay, so what I think would be funniest here, and what to me follows the logic of the joke, is if I don't want to misgender someone.
Mm-hmm.
But the deal is that in the logic of the joke, these probably are cis individuals. But because I'm so progressive and I'm so excited over the fact that trans people can just, live their true lives, I am now putting trans onto cis people at my convenience, But I don't want to break the internal rules of trans. So basically, I should say, oh, when I got beaten up, yeah, like when I got beaten up by a girl in fourth grade, that wasn't a girl, that was a boy, you know, that was or whatever. And then like when I was attracted to that guy over there, that wasn't a guy, that was a girl. That's what's going on. So it would actually make more sense if I didn't like I'm not breaking two rules here. I don't want to misgender. I'm doing what's right by the trans community, but I'm doing everything else so blatantly wrong. You're like, what are you doing? You're so stupid. Why are you trying to hold on to this old paradigm thing? Yeah.
I think that the logic of the joke, as you're describing it, it makes perfect sense to me. I don't know if this is. I don't even know if it's an issue. You know, I don't even know if an audience.
Yeah, I mean,
would have an issue
I'll
with it.
keep on getting feedback. And I'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's definitely valid feedback, Jared. Like
of course.
and it's definitely needs a lot of care. You are valid, and your feedback is valid.
Thank you.
Would you have any interest with a reframe, Rob, of something along the lines of, I don't understand why people who are ingrained in toxic masculinity aren't more open to trans people, because it would allow them to stay in that place.
Yeah.
And then you could do the exact same examples.
That's true.
Ooh, that's kind of funny. Like imagining like a finance bro hooks up with a dude, and instead of having to go through the painful realization that he's like bisexual or gay, he just gets to go, that dude was a girl.
Yeah, that was a girl.
Yeah, I think
You know?
I'm pretty sure she was trans. It's like, well, how did you know that? It's like, well, you shouldn't really ask any. You know, it's rude to ask somebody how they identify. So,
but he had a penis. That is fucked up, man.
yeah, dude, no, she,
About what's in people's pants. All right.
yeah.
Okay, but just to be clear,
I really like this framing.
I don't like
is
this.
really
I don't like where this conversation's headed. To be perfectly honest.
I
with
had
you.
sex with a girl last
I had
night,
sex
and
with
if
a
you can't respect that, maybe you should move to Kentucky or some shit.
Yeah. Otherwise, I have some tumblers for you to read.
No, if you'll excuse me, my grinder is blowing up.
Lots of
Lot of
ladies I gotta
Ladies,
get to. Lots of hot ladies.
Okay, I'm hoping that this is better. That I'm not just enjoying this thing that's even more
Oh,
problematic. or
there are
something.
people on this planet who would fucking hate that. Everything about this that we're saying. It doesn't matter, because they're just like, well, now you're just sexualizing this and this, you're fetishizing this or whatever. It's like I'm gonna have to find my own like boundary of what I'm kind of comfortable with, and what I think I could probably butt up against. So. But no, that's always going to be a bit of a struggle to find. And whatever we say now, 5 years from now, might not be tolerated anyway. So we have to
yeah.
That's right.
be true of that. But you're right. This does open up this whole other weird possibility of things, which I do enjoy. I think that is cool. Yeah, I just like the idea of being totally open to transgenderism and not. But still
Your
not
own
okay with your own
sexuality,
personal
like-
sexuality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is very, very fun.
Those clashes are fine, because then you can go, all right, she was a woman. That's fine by me.
Oh, I don't know. This may be more of a. I know there's already like a very complex Rubik's cube that attacking this joke, but there may be something with the crossing of wokeness, the clashes that are happening. You know, feminism clashing with trans rights that are happening, and that may be another approach into the concept here, which is that, you know, you can't necessarily assume that somebody, just because they are woke in one way, is going to be woke in another way.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Like
So
you know, looking at Caitlyn Jenner as an example of something.
Obviously,
Right.
very progressive about sexuality, regressive in literally every other way that you possibly could be.
Right.
Right. I liked that Caitlyn Jenner wound up being like the poster child of transgenderism, because it kind of laid a lot out on the table early on for both like liberals and conservatives to kind of just deal with. So I kind of enjoyed that. There was something, you know, as opposed to having to like go through a process of like, oh, here's a liberal bastion of everything, and she represents all the things that she's supposed to represent, followed by next and next and next. And this that we just got like a sloppy mess right from the beginning. We're just like, yeah, world's complicated, so just gotta deal with it. Sorry.
Yeah. I wonder if liberals felt about like, boosting Caitlyn up, and then her becoming super, super conservative, if they felt like when the Senate gave power to Palpatine. They were like, oh no!
That's great.
Seemed like a good idea at the time. Thanks, Jar Jar. That's Kanye.
What's weird too is when trans then you start talking about people's like ideas of like beauty standards and like female beauty standards, and then like if you are a trans woman and then you're just like, oh, but you don't know what we have to go through, and I'm always very confused about that, like, because when you think of yourself as a woman, but it's so culturally and timely, like contextualized, so it's just like, well, I'm a woman who lives in the 21st century in Western culture, so it's just kind of, that's weird. Like if you were a trans person in Africa, does that mean you're like start doing the lip disc thing more? And you're just like, well, I do the necky thing, because
right,
the elongated neck thing, or I'm
or
a
if you're a trans
Asian
woman in like, I don't know, 1800s, or you're like, I just churn butter now. That's all that's different.
I'm actually quite curious about that, because
really,
you're like,
really interesting
I
to think
feel
about.
like a woman. I'm like, I think I can appreciate that, but even within the world of womanhood, there is a vast spectrum of personalities and the way you like to present to the world. There's very tomboyish girls, all that kind of stuff. So that stuff kind of fascinates me. What it means to be a woman, because that's very contextualized.
I think that there is something biological that is innate in us, in how we would, even if you were to put somebody independently of culture, and put them on an island, they would still understand, even without parents or anything, they would understand boy, girl. It would be something that kind of just comes up. And then I think probably whatever the culture is adopted within whatever that feeling is.
That's a great way to explain it. Yeah, because I would agree with that fully. Like just the idea, there's so many things that are going on in our bodies that we're not in control of. Just like the vast majority, I would say 99.9% of what our bodies do, we have no thought or control of, whether it's growing, metabolizing, skin cells, heart beating, breathing, everything. But the tiny sliver is our conscious thought. And it's so important to us that we really think that we have so much control over it, right? So me as a boy, as a guy, like not only because of my physical parts, but then also just, how do I know what I want to fuck something, or how do I even care? Like all these little things that we know unconsciously. It's super possible. I mean, it's more than possible. It's obviously the case where there are people who are just like, no, I'm built like a opposite gender than what my outward parts present as, and just as that you're this, I know that I'm that. There's nothing else I can say else about it. You're not a turtle too, so it's like you act as a human male or human female. So all that kind of stuff, you're 100% right. How does that manifest? That of course changes culturally and in the times and in whatever. So yeah, it is interesting to think then that a young girl growing up who is in a boy's body is actually still absorbing all of the information from the media, and still internalizes that, so that when they actually have the opportunity to transition on the outside, that stuff is still caked in. That's fascinating to me. They're like I know I'm a woman, and you're like, so I want to be a woman. I want to be like that woman. I want to be like that woman. And I want to be like, her and her. And so then you just like come up with this idea of what it is to be a female in 2021 in America, for example.
I am really enjoying this conversation, but I know Jarret told me while you were peeing that he has a massive headache. So I'm feeling bad for him.
No, that's okay. Man.
I peed in a Gatorade bottle, by the way, because my roommate was in the bathroom.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you just call the police?
Episode done.
Thanks so much for watching. Check back every Monday for new episodes, or you can listen wherever you enjoy podcasts. If you want to help support the show, tell your friends how much you like Is This Anything? Or get involved, like an episode, share, comment, subscribe. If you want more Is This Anything, you gotta join our Patreon at patreon.com/ITApod. We have a ton of awesome exclusive content on there, and you can join for as little as $1 a month. Check out the links in the description, and hopefully we'll see you next week.